Hello to Blackbird, another movie review. This 2020 remake of A Silent Heart, which was a 2014 Danish film. It's directed by Roger Michel, who I found out directed the excellent Venus, probably about a decade ago, which happened to star the late great Peter O'Toole in his last role. This particular film, Blackbird, is written by Christian Torp, and the cast, and it's an ensemble cast, very impressive. Mia Wasikowska plays Anna, Kate Winslet is Jennifer, Rain Wilson plays Michael, Sam Neill plays Paul, Susan Sarendon plays Lily, that's Paul's wife, Bex Taylor Klaus plays Chris, Lindsay Duncan is Liz, and Anson Boom plays Jonathan. And just a point about the cinematography, which is excellent, Mike Ely. The music also by Peter Gregson. It's a movie that focuses on the last days of a woman suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease. But here the family are brought together for a last weekend before she, with the help of her doctor husband, decides to take a lethal cocktail to stop her heart. Yes, it's about euthanasia. So this adds weight to how the family view this. And it unearths a number of family antagonisms, crises and belief systems. To the characters then. Lily's a feisty, spirited, determined character living with her husband, Paul. A doctor played very low-key, it has to be said, by Sam Neill. They live in an upscale beach house in affluent Connecticut, and a farewell weekend is planned for family and close friends to say goodbye before the assisted suicide takes place. And this, of course, is to avoid the latter stages of this horrific disease and inevitable death. So to family members then. Jennifer, the daughter, is a headstrong, controlling type whose opinions on this act her mother has chosen changes through the course of the movie. She's very much distorted, has a distorted moral view that is dogmatic at best. And her husband is a weak, pathetic, agreeable type who really seeks out what he feels and what he wants. Their teenage son, Jonathan, is struggling to cope with adolescent pressures, made worse by a controlling mother and a weak role model of a father. His mother sees her son's future career, in contrast to his grandmother's determination to do what she feels is right for herself, and enables the young boy to challenge his mother's about career choice. Anna and her partner, Chris, are lesbians. Anna has psychological issues and latches onto strong views easily without thinking of others' sensitivities. She collides with her elder sister on most topics that involve family values or family drama in relationships, particularly family relationships. Her sister Jennifer doesn't approve of Chris and makes it known to Anna that Chris shouldn't have come to the family home, given the reason for the family reunion. I've always had a soft spot for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, a magnetic family dysfunction movie. And Blackbird is a little in the same ilk, although not quite as in your face. It certainly has certain similarities by the attention throughout with the cast members and how they are reacting to Sarendon's decision. The cast members, well, Susan Sarendon, Kate Winslet, and the impressive Mia Wasikowska tick most of the boxes here. The subject matter also provokes interest, and so it worked for me. However, critics were less enthused, saying that it failed to fully explore the notion of euthanasia. That may be true, but I suggest you see it for yourself. I'm going to go over some of the scenes that I felt caught my eye, so to speak. Leary deliberately changes the music from a deeply depressing style to one of more up-tempo and joyful. And this sort of negates the mood of this type of gathering, I guess, and it gives you a sense of how she views it regarding her pending mortality. We also witness family fun activities like charades, happy memories of youth between Lily and her close friend Liz. They record teenage drug use, for example, that magical trip. Paul describes the stages of motor neuron disease, so we get an insight into that and its dreadful later stages. Lily's teenage grandson is helped in understanding the process and why the family are there to say goodbye. The film tries to emphasise positivity amidst the group. Shared breakfast, shared walks, cooking, decorations put up to harvest good memories. A beach walk marks the spot where Lily and Paul believe that they conceived Jennifer, and this prompts a chat with Anna, who's inquisitive to know where she might have been conceived. And the parents have to admit that they think it may have happened in a cheap hotel in Buffalo, which is quite a contrast in environments, which doesn't do Anna's self-esteem much good. The issue of assisted suicide, of course, generates a crisis in the diverse opinions between the sisters, and conflict amongst them adds fuel to the drama. The final candlelight dinner plays out with Lily in her best outfit, others looking splendid, and the occasion is used by Jonathan, the grandson, to assert his right to be himself. Mother and grandmother chip in with their views, and the emotions run high before Lily takes charge with an array of gifts to be passed on to the family. This act also provokes a variety of reactions, some quite comical, but others full of sadness and upset. Aperitifs such as marijuana become a choice for Lily in this last supper, this last farewell. And Jennifer partakes for the first time in her life, which gathers a rather lightened mood to the proceedings. Sarendon is particularly impressive when she delivers her thanksgiving to the family and friends. Anna, however, responds by laying out her own demons that have been kept secret from her mother. This signals a pattern that the plot repeats: cordiality before crisis and conflict. The audience is always on edge, wondering when the next explosion will happen. And we briefly get an insight into the personality disorders on show here. Equally, the legal and moral aspect of euthanasia is touched on, but lacks any real depth and analysis to provoke serious debate. A laughable chat, as I see it, takes place about the notion of sickness, mentally sick, which is deeply ironic given the nature of Lou Gehrig's disease. And then there's Anna's medication, a cocktail of prescribed drugs fit for any suicidal type. The juicy part of this drama is the sisters' relationship. Winslet and Wasikowska are a dangerous mix together, and the acting is top notch. The role of the friend Liz is explored later on, as she appears to be one part in a triangle with Lily and Paul. Any potential uproar at this late stage by this perceived secret is quelled by Lily's approval of the relationship. The last frames show the daughter's opinions over the final act constantly in a state of flux. This leads Lily, as mother, to carry out her final resolving of sisterly disruption to enable herself to take the last journey in calm waters. We witness a novel group acceptance, although nodding of Lily's decisive final act overall is somewhat underplayed. and it's more a case of going with the desire and intention of Leary. Overall, I stayed with this drama though, probably because of my strong appreciation of Sarendon and Winslet's filmographies, and I think it pays off. So I would suggest you get to watch it. It's called Blackbird, and it was released in 2020.